You're watching the news leader, WDAY.
New tonight on the News Leader.
A former state senator is accused of traveling to Europe to have sex with minors. I'll break down the newly unsealed federal indictment and what's next after his first court appearance.
We started off the month in the 90s, but now, as you can see, cold and snow. Now, if cold weather trick-or-treating isn't really your style, we've got some ideas, and now you can still have spooky fun indoors.
Yes, another round of winter weather. This time it's shorter lasting snow showers, but the wind is making travel tough tonight. I'll show you how bad it will be.
This is Kevin Walden. Tonight, you'll see Fargo's tent city along the river. We'll tell you why people plan to stay here through the winter.
Because shelters are full, people don't have anywhere else to go.
Good evening, everyone. Talk about terrible timing. Snow begins to fall as most of you were getting ready to head home from work.
Here's a live look at Fargo and Grand Forks tonight. You can see snow is coming down, but not as heavy as we saw just about a half hour ago. But the snow is going to pick up again and will add in wind, creating some tough conditions. Storm Tracker meteorologist John Wheeler has a first look at our forecast.
Yeah, the good news is that this is only a heavy snow in terms of its falling rate. None of the heavy snow lasts very long. It's caused by an upper level low spinning right over the area right now. We've had one little burst of heavy snow, and in the Grand Forks area, you're almost to the end of it. Light snow falling now. Another half an hour, 45 minutes should be done with snow except for flurries. Here in Fargo, brief burst of heavy snow. That's now moving into Detroit Lakes. We're in a bit of a lull. We'll get a few more quick snow showers, but of greater concern, it's not that windy in the valley right now. We're about to see winds increasing into this 20 to 30 mile an hour range with a few wind gusts up around 40. There's a gust of 45 at Bismarck. So it will get windy, enough to cause a little bit of drifting snow. Accumulations, not that impressive, an inch or so, maybe a couple spots getting a couple of inches. The problem is the wind and the fact that slush is now freezing. Fargo right now down right at 31 degrees. So be on the lookout for icy roads, brief poor visibility, and except for the ice on the roads, all of that will be gone by morning.
It has been an adjustment to these cold winter temperatures, but imagine living through these conditions in a tent.
Along the Red River near downtown, WDAY News reporter Kevin Walden found a tent city where people are living in freezing temperatures. The good news, public health teams are reaching out.
It's one thing to see a tent city along the river during summer, but we saw this and decided to get a closer look at this community of homeless, not far from the Main Avenue Bridge downtown. Not just tents, but simple structures for cooking and hanging clothes. And we found campfires still burning. After our winter's first snow and icy temps, we talked with two people, Haima and Leanne.
Just the nature, just peaceful.
Who were here all summer and are now preparing to stay the winter.
Well, it was warm in the tent. Once I got out this morning, it was cold.
Remember our brutal winter last year? Haima slept here in his tent nearly the entire time. He has stopped at shelters in the past, but they are often full with a waiting list.
Peaceful. Yeah, it's peaceful.
But it's not like those living in the tents this winter are being forgotten. In fact, Fargo Cass Public Health has a special team, a street outreach team, and they are here weekly to check on those living in the tent city to see what their needs are.
That outreach team was just here to this tent city days ago. Just over a dozen people living in tents.
That there's a lot of people that are needing homes and that a lot of people do not want to be in that shelter setting because it's alarming for them. It's too much a lot. That's one of the biggest conversations, is that when they go into the shelter setting, it's because it's too much for them.
The solution to all of this? It's not simple. The problem? Easier to figure out.
But what we know is that because shelters are full, people don't have anywhere else to go. And so it's difficult to make the argument to clear camps out when people don't have a different place to be.
At Churches United in Morehead, the shelter is in the middle of a huge renovation project that will provide more rooms for families. For those living in the tent city, Churches United offers help.
During the week, they can get lunch and dinner, and then on the weekends, they can get brunch and dinner. And so we're trying to figure out a way of how we can keep those services going through the night so people can at least come in and warm up, not necessarily be able to sleep, but it's at least a reprieve from the elements.
Those who check on the Tent City weekly say they know most of the people here and what the needs are. What appears to be the biggest need of all, affordable housing, instead of a tent by the river all winter long. Kevin Wallivan, WDAY News.
The outreach team making trips to the tent city also makes sure people are connected to medical needs as well as places to get meals. A federal indictment against a former North Dakota state senator was unsealed today as he made his first court appearance in federal court.
79-year-old Raymond Holmberg from Grand Forks is accused of traveling overseas to have sex with minors. He pleaded not guilty. WDAY News reporter Sam Getzinger dug through the 4-page indictment today. He joins us live from the federal courthouse. Sam.
Yeah, Dana, Kirsten, Holmberg's initial appearance here at the federal courthouse, which is behind me here in downtown Fargo, he was here for arraignment. It started at 2 this afternoon and lasted less than an hour. Now, the former state senator who served from 1976 all the way up until last year was indicted on Thursday for traveling with the intent to engage in illicit sexual activity and for receipts of child porn. And there was a time when Holmberg was the longest-serving state senator in the U.S. The indictment that was unsealed today accuses Holmberg of traveling to the Czech Republic from 2011 to 2016 with the intention of having sex with minors. It also says from 2012 to 2013 he would receive or try to receive child porn. The indictment says Holmberg would go out by the alias of Sean Evan or Evans during that time. And this all comes over a year after Inform reporter April Baumgarten uncovered text messages between Holmberg and 35-year-old Nicholas Morgan DeRozier, who pled guilty to federal child porn charges in late September. Holmberg says those messages were about patio work and other projects on his home in Grand Forks. And in 2020, Holmberg gave Morgan DeRozier a ride to Bismarck so he could discuss a construction fraud case at the Attorney General's office. But that investigation led officers to evidence that would later be tied to Morgan DeRozier's child porn case. Now, Holmberg was released today on supervision. He's not allowed to leave the Grand Forks or East Grand Forks area, and he's also not allowed to be in contact with anyone under the age of 18. And the federal indictment also ordered him to give up his iPad and cell phone, and his initial trial date is set for December 5th. Reporting live from downtown Fargo, Sam Getzinger, WDAY News.
Charges are pending tonight against a 16-year-old accused of pulling a gun at a UND Halloween party. Police say the unnamed teen from Grand Forks pointed a gun at several people after he's kicked out of the ATO house early yesterday morning. Partygoers told police he got mad when he was asked to leave. They saw the gun in his back pocket while he was dancing. It turned out to be a pellet gun. Police say a combination of information from the partygoers and the greater Grand Forks community led to the arrest.
We probably could not have solved the case on our own. It took a good community coming together and providing us information. And that's not something you get everywhere in the United States right now.
Tonight, after the football game, police address why it took the university so long to give the all clear after the initial emergency alert. The weather for Halloween tomorrow is more trick than treat.
October is a season of change, and things can change in a snap of a finger.
And things can change from year to year drastically. Next on WDAY News, a 180 from last year's Halloween. 70 degrees last year, a possible record cold tomorrow. Find out how you can cancel the cold and still get candy.
And the sky has cleared. It's actually stopped snowing. The sun came out before setting up at Leeds, North Dakota, west of Devil's Lake. But the road looks icy, and that wind is causing a little light snow fog, a little blowing snow. Cold weather out there for tonight and Halloween coming up.
Halloween might be a little bit on the chilly side this year.
In fact, according to our Storm Tracker weather team, we could be heading for a top 10 coldest Halloween on record for Fargo-Moorhead, top 5 for Grand Forks. WDAY News reporter Mike McGurran joins us live tonight from outside Nexus Path Family Healing in Fargo, where the scheduled outdoor Halloween fun made a last-minute change because of Mother Nature. Mike?
Yeah, that's right, guys. I was hoping to see some trick-or-treaters out here, but they actually made the decision to move the event inside to avoid the snow and the wind that we're currently dealing with. And let's make no mistake about it. If you're going to be doing some trick-or-treating tomorrow, things are going to be a little chillier than you'd ideally hope for. Talk about whiplash. We saw temps in the 90s at the start of the month. Now we're sitting below freezing.
So October is a season of change, and things can change in a snap of a finger.
We've certainly had snowier Halloweens. The upper Midwest faced off the historic blizzard back in '91. By the end of Halloween night, some parts of Minnesota reporting as much as 3 feet of snow. Fortunately, Mother Nature doesn't seem to have anything quite so extreme in store for us tomorrow, but no getting around it. It will be chilly.
Last year, Halloween, we hit 70 degrees in Fargo. This year, we're not even half that.
If you want to minimize your time in the cold, trunk or treat at the Moorhead Mall parking ramp tomorrow is a good way to get a lot of candy quickly.
Pretty efficient to have like 30 cars all lined up and doling out candy.
Or if you want to avoid the outdoors entirely, Serenity Assisted Living in Dilworth is opening its doors to the public, letting kids trick-or-treat from the comfort of the Toasty building from 3:30 to 5.
You can catch about 100 doorsteps just by stopping at our facility, and you're inside the whole time, and not only are you getting the treats from the residents, but also giving smiles back to them.
Bonnie lives at Serenity, and she's got her Lucille Ball costume on early. She says it's always a treat when kiddos come to visit, spending spooky season with them.
Last year we had a lot of kids, about 300 of them, and hopefully the cold weather will keep them away. So I hope we get as many as we can.
If you still want to get your spooky on, but you're not a fan of trick-or-treating or cold weather, you can actually catch the Blair Witch Project at the Fargo Theater at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Or you can take my recommendation and spend Halloween how I like to spend Halloween. That's all you need for that is a couch, a warm apartment, your candy of choice. I'm a Starburst guy myself, and a scary movie. Reporting live, Mike McCurran, WDAY News.
That sounds great, Mike, but I do love the idea of the assisted living center. That's so smart.
It makes their night.
Yeah, it does.
And probably their week.
Yeah.
It snowed hard for a while, but not very long.
No, so this is not like one of those, you're going to have to scrape it off the sidewalk, but you're not going to need the big hog snow blowers to get this one out of the way. It's just making things nasty. A near live look at the DOT cam on I-29 south of Fargo. Little slush in the roads, but now that it has stopped snowing for the moment, travel conditions are getting a little better, but do keep in mind, the freeways have some slush buildup on the roads, so it's not really terribly nice out there. The DOT cam, I don't know if it's going to come in here, should be there in a minute. 32 degrees, wind is now picking up to 21 miles an hour, and if we probably take about 45 seconds for that picture to come in when it freezes like that. That's how long it takes. There it is. So again, you can see this is that upper deck level where you get off 29 and exit onto 94 going east toward Moorhead, and it's a little slippery up there too. So with the temp right at 32 degrees and dropping, do keep that in mind. Grand Forks, you're in a lull in the heavier snow, but it's lightly snowing. Temperature at 27 degrees. The streets are slippery in Grand Forks, and it's a little breezy in the valley, but look at these 20 to 35 mile an hour winds, gusting to 48 at Bismarck. The really high winds will miss our area, but the wind will come up enough to make it a little difficult to handle your vehicle. Fortunately, we're not getting very much accumulation overnight tonight, and including what's already fallen, most areas will be looking at about an inch or so. Windy conditions, but the snow will wind down and move out of the area. Tomorrow we might even see a little bit of sun, but it's nasty out there. Temperature down to 16 in Grand Forks tonight. Some single digits where the skies clear off west of Grand Forks. Fargo will drop down to about 22. Light snow, but a little enough wind to cause a little bit of blowing snow overnight. Tomorrow, a much quieter day, just cold with high temperatures freezing or below most areas, and northwest of Fargo where the snow is deeper, only in the 20s, which sets us up obviously for the cold Halloween night.
We're bracing ourselves. Thank you, John.
Next on WDAY News, revisiting a failure.
What West Fargo Schools wants to know from a survey after its almost $150 million bond referendum failed last month.
The West Fargo Public School District is sending out a survey to learn why its recent bond referendum failed.
It was sent out via email this morning to district parents and staff. It contains several questions, including where people get information about important district topics and whether or not they voted on recent referendums. Superintendent Beth Sleddy tells WDAY News they've received almost 2,000 responses in the first day alone. The survey is open till November 14th. If you didn't get an email with the survey, you can find it on the West Fargo Public Schools website. Back to our weather now, the 10-day forecast, John. Our weather get a little warmer by the end of the week.
The places like Fargo-Moorhead that don't have a lot of snow on the ground, and we aren't getting very much accumulation tonight, weather's actually going to moderate. Wednesday, Thursday will be up above freezing enough hours during the day that we should get rid of our snow here in the Fargo metro area. Weekend weather not that bad, although I do see a chance of some kind of a rain, snow, sloppy mix on part of the day on Friday. Weekend high temperatures back up around 40. Bring your expectations down now. It's November. Another chance of light snow on Monday, but likely nothing particularly heavy. So we'll be in and out of a little bit of snow on the ground, but nothing terribly cold, and we're not really starting to pile up that winter snow yet here in the FM area. Grand Forks, where there's much more snow on the ground, north and west of Grand Forks, where it's really deep, you're not going to get as warm. A couple of days you'll break the freezing mark Thursday and Friday. We'll add a little snow on Friday and likely again on Monday. But basically, the snow that's on the ground where it's much deeper, we're not going to see that change very much. Don't forget to set the clocks back this weekend.
Okay, good reminder. Thanks, John. Next on WDAY Sports, the gauntlet begins. The next 3 weeks could make or break NDSU's season. And what was feared is now official. Kirk Cousins is done for the year. What will the Vikings do now?
November football is on the horizon for NDSU, and it couldn't be any bigger for the green and gold. NDSU has 3 games remaining with a 6-2 record and will face 3 ranked teams to end the season, starting this week with top-ranked and unbeaten Jackrabbits. Quarterback Cam Miller says the team is poised to play its best football, and head coach Matt Entz says they can't think of all the implications this month could have.
On Saturday, we can turn the page and look at the next one. I think if we start looking at it as a cumulative effect, that can be a little bit overwhelming, especially for our team right now. That's not what we need. We need to make sure that we have everyone aligned on this plan for this week.
Entz also added that defensive tackle Will Mostart will miss the rest of the season with an injury. Sources tell our Dom Izzo that Mostart suffered an Achilles injury on this sack in the 3rd quarter in the win over Murray State. Sophomore Cody Heisman will replace Mostart on the depth chart for Saturday's game. Entz also said that they are waiting to hear on an appeal for Sam Young's targeting call from Saturday's game. By rule, Young would have to miss the first half of this week's game against SDSU. Now the backbone to Minnesota's offense for the past 6 seasons will be on the sidelines for the remainder of the year. Kirk Cousins also suffered an Achilles tendon tear in the 4th quarter of yesterday's game against Green Bay. An MRI this morning confirmed the injury, but an official timeline for his surgery is still to be determined. Although this will be the first time in his 12-year career that he's been taken out due to injury, the Vikings says he's down but not out.
He has every intent of still being a major part of our leadership, a part of the quarterback room, a part of our offense, a part of our plans. And quite honestly, I don't expect anything less from Kirk being the man and the leader that he is.
And Minnesota is still tentative on who's going to fill Cousins' shoes for the remainder of the season.
A lot of rumors, though, right?
I know, right? We got to wait and see.
Right. Still to come. A last look at tonight's weather.
And a milestone moment at MSUM today. After years of waiting and hoping, the first renovation to Weld Hall in 50 years begins.
The markets are brought to you by Farmers Union Insurance.
A remodeling project years in the making is finally beginning on MSUM's oldest building on campus.
A number of stakeholders involved in the planning and the renovations and securing the funding grabbed a shovel to kick off the Weld Hall project. It was funded by this year's bonding bill after years of waiting. Designs for the renovations were finalized in 2018. President Tim Downs believes the performance venue the renovations will create will be an asset for the community for years to come. MSUM hopes to have renovations completed by the summer of 2025. John has another look now at tonight's snowy evening weather.
Snow showers, everybody, which is different from a snowstorm because it kind of comes and goes. It's not really snowing right now. We'll likely get a little more, but not much accumulation. At issue is temps falling cold enough that the roads will get slushy and icy, and it will be getting windy. The strongest winds, gusting to 40, will stay west of the valley, but it'll be windy enough for a few travel issues in the area overnight. In Grand Forks, you can see it started snowing again, and the streets are snow covered with the temperature well below freezing. We're not getting much accumulation. We've already gotten a lot of this, an inch or so, maybe a couple of inches in spots. Tomorrow will be a much better day, just cold.
Glad to hear that. Thank you, John.
And that is our news, weather, and sports tonight. From all of us at WDAY, thanks for being with us.
Have a great evening, everyone. We'll see you back here tonight at 9 and 10.